Welcome to Mechs, Myth, and Magic, Episode 1. Tonight, will Boba be the star of his show again? Or is he off writing a bantha? Will Master Chief actually be the star of his own show, or is it about a bunch of side characters trying to solve puzzles and riddles? Tonight and more. We're gonna introduce ourselves here. So, I'm gonna need names, and I'm gonna need favorite magical characters.
All right, my name is Dante from DanteDreams.com, and my favorite magical character, this is rough, Harry Potter's sitting right behind me, so I'm thinking Harry Potter. He's a close, but I think it had to be Gandalf. I like the Lord of the Rings Tolkien version of magic and magician and wizard. They were, they were a bit more mystical, you know. Anyways, yes, so Gandalf.
I'm Tony Avila, and I don't have a website. But, let's see, I wanted to go Tolkien. I really did.
I stole it from you.
I really did. And then I immediately thought, Aslan from Chronicles of Narnia. And, obviously, Christ-type archetype
old
there.
Magic.
Yeah, the old magic. And that didn't hit me as deep as Dobby does. So, I have to say, man, finger snap and the cake falling on faces, and probably the only Harry Potter moment to make me cry was the death of Dobby. So, I'm going to go with Dobby. Favorite magical creature. Or character. He's a creature and a character, so we'll live with that. So, and up behind
Dobby.
The computer.
My name is Eves. My favorite magical character is Radagast.
Radagast? Oh, man, only one guy can do the Tolkien. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Why Radagast?
Because he's funny.
You know, Radagast was played by one of the Doctor Who's. He was played by the seventh Doctor Who. And so I generally hated I didn't hate, but I did not love them as much as the fourth Doctor, right? But then I recently did a deep dive. I watched all of the 80s Doctor Who's, and the seventh is probably my favorite. You know, besides number 4, Tom Baker, the greatest Doctor Who. I can't remember his name right now, but it's Scottish.
So you watched all the original ones, like the old ones?
Yeah, I was watching that in the 80s.
Dang.
What was Radagast's actor's name? Stuart McCoy? Something McCoy. You
I just thought he was a funny, magical.
He was. He's great.
Character.
Yeah, he's great. He really is.
Yeah.
He really is. Radagast really is Doctor Who.
And I also said it because I couldn't think of anybody else. So
Sylvester McCoy.
Because I'm also thinking about the Rings of Power that's coming out on Amazon. So.
Oh, man. Real quick, do you think it's going to be good?
I don't know. I like the little teaser. It showed all the rings being forged and them reciting from the book about 9 rings to men, 3 rings to elves, 7 rings for dwarves. I think it's 7, right?
Yeah,
to the dwarves.
That's about right.
1 ring to rule them all. And then they just
And in the darkness, bind them.
Yeah, so it seemed pretty cool. So we'll see. We'll see how they.
So I don't like teasers in general. I hate being teased, pretty much. But here's the thing: Amazon. I just watched Reacher on Amazon. It was great. It was almost the same production value as The Expanse. Have you guys watched The Expanse?
Yes.
Oh my god! So it's almost the same production value, but it's for just a regular movie. Because they have to make all those sets too. So apparently that's all sets. That's not like they are filming in a town. They filmed in Canada. Whatever that fake state of is to the north. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Canadians. I love Canada. Ottawa is one of my favorite places on the planet. No insults, okay. I actually do love Ottawa.
So before we get into our main topics, Dante, have you been to the movies lately?
Yes, I went to the movies yesterday and I watched Kingsman. The Kingsman.
Again.
And
I fell asleep in different parts. No, I'm just kidding. That's just because I've got issues. I don't sleep late, right?
Yeah, we watched that 3 weeks ago together. Yeah. It was good. It was a good movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I liked it better than the second one, and it's probably as good as the first one.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting how the origins of the Kingsman started. But it was a really good movie. Ralph Fiennes, he was the name.
Fiennes.
Fiennes. See, I always say
one
his
of the
name
Fiennes
wrong.
brothers.
Voldemort.
Voldemort.
He was really good. He's a really good actor. So, and he had a really nice cast around him. So they did a really good job.
So Brian K. Vaughan, is that the director, creator?
Brian Cape, no,
It's a Vaughn, isn't it?
who made it?
Yeah.
Matt Vaughn.
Matt Vaughn. Sorry.
Matthew
Brian
Vaughn.
K. Vaughn is the comic book
Same
guy.
one behind X-Men First Class?
Yep.
He
Kick
makes-
I think too. I want to say.
Kick butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's a great director, and it's just a really well fleshed out world. Really, I mean, just done really well. The first one was, there are a couple of obscene comments towards the end of the first one. I was like, really? That was really out of there. I mean, but okay, but it was just really well made. I mean, it was almost historically accurate. All the points they hit were like, oh wait, that's in history. That happened. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, and then it's like, what? It's they tied it into the real world really well, and I liked it. I mean, some of the action was just insanely great too. The plane scene.
Yeah,
with
that
the
was
early
pretty
parents.
good.
I was like, what
It
is
was like
going?
anything that could go wrong did go wrong.
I mean, can I spoil? I mean, can I talk about that?
I mean, it's been out
So-
for over 2 months now, so.
For some inside baseball for our viewers and audience, Eves and Dante love to go to the movies as much as possible. I, however, am a bit more stingy as I am about to be a dad of 2, and I can't spend money like I used to. I'm not bitter.
He's bitter.
I love my children. I absolutely love my children, and it is well worth the exchange. But every time I hear about these guys raving about a new movie, I try and carve out a little bit of time. I guess I tend to vote with my dollar a little bit more. The things that I am excited for, I will definitely spend the money on, and the things that are a little wishy-washy, I might just wait and wait and wait, and eventually forget about it or catch it on whatever streaming service usually has it.
This is not a paid commercial for Regal or the Regal Pass.
Yeah, not
at all.
But the Regal Pass allows you to take those risks. It's like, I'm going to watch everything.
Get my money's worth, you know? You pay
I'm
$10
gonna
a
watch
month.
The Green Knight, and we can talk about that.
That was a good
Oddly
movie.
enough, Spider-Man was the last movie I saw in theaters, but the last movie before that was The Green Knight.
Dang, I think I remember watching that with you.
Honestly, no, I went and saw it with Brandon Parrish
Are you
up
sure?
in Sanford, yeah.
Who was that?
So-
Was it
You and I watched that.
Brandon Parrish is the
You only watched it once?
magic lover in my
Yeah, I
life.
want to watch it again, though.
Let's do it.
So he will eventually be on this podcast. If you're listening now, Brandon, I love you. Anyway,
I just saw Brandon today.
yeah. He's a real cool dude. We'll have him on to talk magic soon.
And then about the LA acting Hollywood scene.
Yeah.
I mean, no, not really. I don't know. If you want
But
to.
Kingsman sounds good. If it's still in theaters, I think I might carve out some time to go see it.
We should go. I'll go again.
Absolutely.
I'll go again.
Yeah, I'll
Let's
go a
do
second
that.
time.
I'll go a third time. I'm that guy. Anyways, yeah. So that's what I've seen at the movies lately. And what I was gonna say was the airplane scene it was so well filmed. I'm like, how did they film this? Because it didn't look like CG. It looked very practical. But if it was CG, they really did it well, so you couldn't notice it.
Nice.
And yeah, me likey.
Yeah. Well, Dante, you want to tackle our first subject?
Sure. What were we going to talk about? We were going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett. The penultimate episode has come out. Finale is this week. Wow.
As we are recording, yeah.
Yes. So, wow. I love the last 2 episodes. Which featured heavily with the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, Din Djarin was in it.
Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. I feel like, yes, episode 5 that was pretty much a Mandalorian episode, but it serves a purpose. I think it's because the entire, Mandoverse and this Filoni Favreauverse, it's interconnected. It is really one storyline, right? And the storyline, and this is my opinion, this is my prediction, is that Din Djarin is going to be the Mandalore. He's going to be the Mandalore, and his son Grogu is going to be at his right hand. He's going to have a lightsaber. He's going to be a Mando Jedi, maybe like Tar Vizsla. I don't know, but he will be the Mandalore, and his sidekick. But then Boba Fett all these different things that he's a part of. The owls, the night,
Owls,
no,
yeah.
not, or the children of the watch people, the armorer. They're all going to come into play. Everyone he's helped, or been a major part of, are going to help him. He's going to unite the clans. So in a similar way, in Book of Boba Fett, so he's going to be ruling over probably most of Tatooine, if not just that city. But, everyone's coming in this last episode. Boba,
Yeah.
Cobb Vanth, if he lives, come on, he lives.
Don't you dare get rid of Timothy Olyphant.
Exactly, he's going to live.
Disney.
He's going to bring his
I will hunt you down.
his Freetowners. And then, who they haven't even talked about, but they talked about in the first 3 episodes, are the Sand People. Is that a bad term? The Tusken Raiders. They are definitely going to be. They're going to be they're going to be the secret thing. They come at the tide when everything's going to turn. Everyone that he's dealt with.
That Riders of Rohan coming over the
exactly.
mountain. Yeah.
Everything everyone he's dealt with in the last 6 episodes, or has been in the last 6. They're all going to be part of it.
I got to tell you, man, this show has thrown me through some loops, and it's got me feeling some things. Some good, some not so good. For the most part, I've enjoyed the show. I think one of my biggest issues with it, though, has been, like, we knew from the onset we were getting 7 episodes. And there were moments where I felt like, you guys have 7 episodes. Why are we spending so much time on this? Or there were moments where I was like, man, you only gave us about 39 minutes of an episode, and I don't feel like we accomplished much. You took 39 minutes to tell me something that you could have told me
what are
in
you
15.
talking about specifically, though?
So, in the first couple of episodes, let's see. I know everybody likes to talk about the mods. The mods don't bother me too much.
They don't bother me.
Yeah, but I do think... Huh?
Mods?
Yeah, the mods.
The motorcycle gang.
The GoPed crew.
His little...
You watched it, right,
yeah, I've watched it. I just don't know all the terminology.
Yeah,
I'm not as integrated.
The mods are the colorful kid gang that joins Boba, I think in episode 4. Or maybe it was 3. It was an earlier episode. And it's basically a bunch of delinquents that he hires to become part of his crew. The concept of them doesn't bother me. They don't bother me. I do think that their bikes were a little too shiny to be in a desert. But that's debatable on, these are thieves. Maybe they've got the money to do the upkeep. Yeah. They look like they were wearing some of them are wearing some pretty fancy stuff. I don't know if you'd be wearing that if you're part of a...
They're definitely part of the
Vespa gang.
They're upper middle class Tatooine.
While whining about how there's no work.
Yeah.
But... So,
there's no work in New York.
I feel like what was accomplished in that episode could have been done a lot quicker, and it didn't need to take as much time as it did. And I like the flashbacks that we were getting every time in the Bacta tank.
His DMT revelation.
Yeah. But again, I don't know if it's a pacing issue, or if it was a episode length issue, maybe? Because it did feel like every episode left off with me feeling like I didn't get enough to be satisfied. Not like I want more, but more like, what did we do this episode? You know what I mean? And on top of that, I think my biggest issue is it has felt like every side character that's been introduced, Boba Fett has been the reason to give this side character a moment, as opposed to Boba Fett being the moment in this show. You can go back to episode 1, and we're introduced to the Gamorrean guards and how, okay, well, they used to be part of the old crew, and then Boba's like, hey, well, why don't you join my crew? And then immediately after getting out of the club or whatever, they get attacked. And this is the Gamorrean guard moment. They come out, and Boba's putting up a fight, but he really can't get out of this thing, and then he gets... I don't remember what it was, if it was a blast, or I think he blasted somebody with his own gauntlet, and it kind of backfired from the shield wall, and then Fennec gets to do her free running all through, and it's
parkour.
It's a moment for the Gamorrean guards, and it's a moment for Fennec. Boba just kind of looked like he didn't know what he was doing, and after seeing him in The Mandalorian, coming back almost like as savage and as brutal as he was, I think Robert Rodriguez described him, if Mandalorian is the hunter, then Boba Fett is going to be the barbarian. And I really like that interpretation. But you bring him into this show, and it feels a lot like he's just the stepping stone for Fennec, for the Gamorrean guards, for Chrysanthemum, for the mods. Like, every moment that these other characters get is at the expense of our main character either looking foolish or weak. And
He definitely seems like he's getting like the Mad Max Fury Road treatment, where he's like almost like going along with everything else. He's not like the main.
But even in Mad Max, he was competent. Max, like, could deliver. Every moment that he showed up, he could do what was necessary, and he could take care of something on his own. You know, he's hopping under the truck while it's moving. You know, he's got the sniper rifle. The other person says, "All right, I'm a better shot," and he has the immunity. Okay, go ahead. You know, use my shoulder. But he's Max in Fury Road was very capable, while still being kind of a supporting character in his own movie.
Yeah,
I'll give you
that's
that.
what I was getting at.
Nothing came at his expense, though. Nobody, like, it never made Max look foolish for somebody else to do something great. It was always like Max was capable, he was competent, but it really was Furiosa's story, and where she was going and what she was dealing with, and Max just kind of was there to provide the tissue to connect to the rest of that world. I like that interpretation. I wish that we did get a bit more out of Max, but I also like the fact that Max was a bit more laconic, and he didn't speak as much. He was definitely toned down, and the mystery of that movie was where has Max been? What is he doing? Why is he here? You know, which is good for that character, I think, moving forward. But Boba is consistently the stepping stool, and I had an issue with that. His backstory, all the flashbacks, were great because it was very Boba-centric, and him learning, him being taught, even if he didn't, you know, if somebody was beating on him, it was because they were trying to teach him something, you know. Him ultimately making the decision of like, okay, well, this is my family now, we're going to take over this desert, and that, spoiler alert, that gets the whole tribe annihilated. And, you know, that set up some great stuff, but now that he's this daimyo, he really feels a little stooge-like to me. And I'm not sure how to feel about that. But I've really enjoyed the past 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, season 2.5.
I have my issues with that. You guys know I'm probably
yeah.
the odd one out when it comes to how you guys feel about a lot of media. So.
I really want to know what your issues are.
Oh my gosh! So we've already discussed it in our text group.
What? But not for the internet. Go on.
Okay.
In fact, I ignored your entire text because I figured that we were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Get your pitchforks and fires ready.
Yeah. So I am on the opposing side of probably both of you with these last 2 episodes. You even mentioned it earlier. You said something about it being like the Mandalorian season 2.5, which I think so far it has been. Mm-hmm. He's stolen the show, and I think a lot of people probably think that these last 2 episodes were probably the best in the entire series, which is an unfortunate thing because it's called the Book of Boba Fett. It should be about Boba Fett. The last episode, the only thing that ties the Mandalorian with Boba Fett is that Fennec Shank comes up to him and says, "Hey, we're looking for muscle." Tries to pay him. He's like, "You know what? Y'all helped me out the last time. It's on the house." So, and then this past episode, it kind of like bounced between the both of them, but it was really a Mandalore, Grogu-centric episode.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna front that CGI for Luke was pretty legit, but
So, he looks great.
So apparently they got the deepfake guy from YouTube.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Lucasfilm hired him after they saw what he did, apparently.
And I guess, go ahead.
A lot of people made that comparison when that episode happened, the finale of The Mandalorian. They're like, why didn't they hire the deepfake guy? Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, why didn't they? He probably came to prominence while they were already making it and made deals for whatever they did.
And it was really well done. I was actually very surprised at how well that looked.
Yeah. He looked great.
Yeah.
He sounded like a Muppet.
Yeah, but I guess they must have got Mark Hamill because he got a credit.
So here's my theory on that.
So I don't know if he did the voice or the likeness was the credit.
I'm pretty sure I heard this somewhere, but a lot of the people that have been cast when Star Wars was bought by Disney, their rights weren't just to, or the contracts weren't just for them to be in the movies, but it was also that their likeness.
Yeah. That's how it is with everybody now.
And it had to deal with the estates and things like that. I honestly think Mark Hamill was credited just because technically the Luke Skywalker that we see in the show is Mark Hamill.
Correct.
Even though Mark Hamill himself has nothing to do with the role.
It felt like that. Because I feel like Mark sounds completely different.
That's probably what it was, especially since I have not heard of Mark Hamill say anything. He's pretty vocal on the interwebs. Yeah. So he would have
when
said.
He's involved with projects and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that they used an AI for the voice. And that's how that was my one kind of. We didn't really get a lot of scenes where Luke was delivering lines and you could see him talking. Mm-hmm. There's a few, but most of it is like they cut away and they're looking at something else. Mm-hmm. We're looking at the back of his head, or we're looking at a rock. You know, it's we're not watching his mouth, which is good because of where they're at. But to be honest, I don't want to see a whole show of Luke with an AI voice. Not like that. He looked amazing.
He looked really good.
He looked
super
great.
Surprised. Yeah.
But the audio track just made him sound like he was bored and monotone.
Yeah, he was very stiff. Yeah, he seemed like a.
It was really, his voice was really weird in the Mandalorian finale too. It was low. Yeah. It was very low.
It was kind of buried in the mix there a little bit.
Yeah,
it just seemed like subdued. Like, you know, what's the word I want to say? Not monotone necessarily, but just like not emotionless. I don't know, expressionless. He just seemed like Grogu. If you want to come. Yeah. If you don't.
I wonder
the thing is, Mark Hamill is such a character. Like, even in the original trilogy, that dude speaks with such energy.
Yeah, passion.
Yeah.
You know, or he's like super reserved to the point where it's almost villainous. Mm-hmm. You know, when he's talking to Jabba and he's got that, you know, choose or die moment when it comes to accept my offer. Even then, there's still so much charisma and character coming out of that. And in this, with the AI voice, it's very much like somebody typed it in, and so, you know, a soundboard was like.
What they need to do is just have him act out the role and then de-age it.
They could do that. That's probably a good idea
because he'd be the master of his own inflections.
But about his voice, either that grab or just get Sebastian Stan.
I 100% support that decision.
I thought
Disney,
that's what they're gonna do.
If you cast Sebastian Stan, it'll solve all your issues. I mean. Half the internet is ready for it, and the other half will be on board once they see it.
Yeah,
I think he's a great actor. It won't sound the same because obviously his voice is a little different. It'll be a little bit of a new interpretation. Honestly, if we had gotten Sebastian Stan at the end of Mandalorian Season 2, that would have been a great way to just be like, all right, here's the new era of Luke Skywalker.
So the question is, I guess we can look into that later, but is it them typing in words and then just like the computer changing it, or is it someone speaking and then it just gets edited later?
I don't know how the program works. All I do know is that they have said it is an AI.
Yeah, it's probably not someone speaking. If it is, then I think that would probably alleviate.
No, it probably is someone speaking. So? It's just the AI is modifying it. It's just changing it, taking out all the extra bits of sound that are whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, who knows?
Okay.
It's just a little bit off. It's not enough to even faze me, though. Suspension of disbelief. I mean, they're wizards in space with laser swords. Come on. I mean, my opinion is, you don't need to put the actual everything in our thing because nothing is actual.
Gotcha. I want to hit on that real quick. The excuse of it's wizards in space with laser swords, 100% true. But at the same time, this is an established franchise of like 40, going on 45 years soon.
Of like 20 years of like silence.
25. But even 13, in that, 13. The silence wasn't there.
And there was also
novels being written. There was video games. We got
mainstream media.
Okay,
books
movies,
are an archaic.
Movies and TV shows we didn't get in that time frame. Yeah. But with something this big, to reduce it down to it's just magic in space. You know, it's a little. I don't think that's a valid argument anymore, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion, though. You can totally say and kind of reduce it to that, and I understand that argument. But for me, it's like I want to expect more out of my Star Wars, because Star Wars to me has done so much, and when something kind of steps back and rests on its laurels, you get mediocre. And like if Usain Bolt,
Mediocre.
one of the fastest men on the planet, just decided to phone it in for a race, the whole world would be like, dude, what were you doing? You know?
Activate tirade.exe. so
I have some thoughts and opinions, and I started this podcast so that the internet can hear me bicker about the things I don't like.
So here's the thing. This is the Star Wars issue.
Yeah.
Right? The fandom Star Wars issue. That sounds like the Phantom Menace. So the fandom Star Wars issue is expectation, and I think that's what hurt the prequels, especially Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
People were expecting the second coming of Christ, and no movie is ever going to be that. So what I've learned to do in the last 30 years of my life is to lower my expectations. Don't expect anything, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised when it's all right.
I have one expectation from Star Wars. And that's the only expectation is give me quality. And by quality, I mean like sincerity.
Sound like a consumer.
Give me some. Well, I mean, I am. I pay money for this stuff, man. There is nothing Star Wars in my house that $1 was not given for. Like, honestly, it is something that I love. It is something I grew up with. My dad showed it to me at like 3 years old on a VHS cassette tape. And money has gone into this, but at the same time, I think it's not wrong to expect somebody who's been around for so long, doing so great, to just don't phone it in. Just
I don't think anyone's phoning it in. Let's go to like the Mandalorian finale with that original Luke. So it wasn't the best CGI, right? It would have probably been better with the deep fake. Everyone thinks this, right? Most people, right? But for what it was still amazing. And you cannot say
absolutely.
You cannot say that wasn't quality. That was. A
quality.
lot of people complained about that. So, some
bunch
people
of whiners
did.
like me.
I think
See,
like
I'm going to say the same thing about the Book of Boba Fett. Okay, so maybe it's not what you were hoping for because it's not reaching your expectations of what you imagined in your mind. And this is the same thing for the prequels. This is the same thing for the sequels. And it's whatever's going to come out. You know what? It's not going to be what you wanted it to be. It's going to be what it is.
So I want to harp on the expectation thing a little bit, and then I want to move on to Cad Bane because that was amazing.
Ooh,
and then we can move on to another subject. Spoilers.
Did Eves get to express himself?
I didn't finish, but I was okay with just where this was going.
I want to give you a
fine.
chance.
So originally we were talking about my thing with the Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, I said the last 2 episodes. This was not the Book of Boba Fett. This was Mandalorian, like you said earlier, 2.5. Those episodes are out of place. They're legitimately out of place in this whole entire story because they have nothing to do. They do not move the story of Boba Fett forward an inch.
I think your issue, as well as mine, has to do a bit with the fact that it is called Book of Boba Fett.
No. This is not the next saga in the Mandalorian series. He is getting his 3rd season next year. So this is not about him. Can he be involved? Can he make a reoccurring appearance? Yes. But again, the last 2 episodes that I'm pretty sure everybody on the internet will agree is probably the best 2 episodes of the entire series is about the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is sad.
And the 5th one wasn't about the Mandalorian.
I don't think it's sad.
He was in it. He featured prominently, but it wasn't his episode.
Yeah.
The 5th or the 6th?
The 6th, I mean.
Again,
and the
majority 5th. Majority of the episode. Let's say the majority of the episode was about him. I would say that everybody would probably say that episode.
There were a lot of things implemented in the 6th episode.
Give me a scene in the 6th episode that involved Boba Fett.
It was everyone. I didn't say Boba Fett. I said
everyone is.
I didn't. I wasn't. For me, it's not Mandalorian versus Boba Fett.
It's not. I'm not making it that.
But you just said that. My point of the 6th episode was it wasn't Din Djarin's episode.
It was Grogu's episode.
It was a lot of people's episode.
Okay, so answer my question. What scene do you remember Boba Fett being in? Because I honestly can't remember right now.
But was in one scene at the very end. Well, not in the very end. It's kind of towards the latter third. Mandalorian walks in when they're planning, and he kind of turns to him, and Fennec But he doesn't. I don't think he has a speaking line in this episode
not?
6.
So the things I remember are Grogu. The Mandalorian wanted to speak to Grogu, giving him the armor, and then the Timothy Olyphant part.
Yeah.
So bookmark the episode.
So again, which I can say, yeah, sort of ties into that, but again, his connection is nowhere near. It has nothing to do with Boba. His connection is with Din Djarin, and he's the one requesting his help with this upcoming war.
Yeah.
Now, what connects them is which again, the last 2 episodes is those little slivers that connect them. It's that little sliver, which ties it in, but again, nothing about Boba Fett, which it bothers me. But again, I understand how they're building it up. But it's sad when the main character probably isn't a part of that build-up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's these, again, guest characters that are helping hype up what's to come. You know what I mean? So that's my main issue. That's all I'm saying.
It is called the Book of Boba Fett, and Boba has not felt like the main character of his own show.
Yeah, he's. I feel like he's kind of like started the wheel, like he sparked the match, but like Din Djarin, I can't remember Timothy Olyphant's character's name.
Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth.
Cobb Vanth. Like
remember the name.
Why is this
Respect.
Cobb
so
Vanth
long?
is
I'm just kidding.
legitimately awesome.
But those guys they're drawing that excitement. You know, like even that last part was like a Western. It was so well done.
That was the most Sergio Leone
Yes.
that I've ever seen
was
Star
so
Wars
well
be.
done.
Yeah.
And
it
I
was
was-
amazing.
And it totally fit.
And so I won't go into. I'll let you guys talk about that. All that, but that's my problem. Is that it'd be one thing if he was going against Cad Bane and then he shot him. He's like, "Hey, this is your warning. Leave Mos Espa now while you still have the chance." You know, if it was him and Boba, that would have been dope. And it'd have been like, "This is your last warning. Like, next time I'm shooting to kill."
No, half
Now, I will push
half the
back on that
internet
a
would
little
be, but yeah, would not agree with you.
You don't think so?
Yeah. Well, here's my thing.
I don't agree with anything you're saying.
by
But
Cad
when
Bane,
you fight a villain, usually you have to face defeat to kind of build up that expectation. Like, wow, the next time they meet, either he's going to win or he's going to lose. You know?
well, let me float something out to you here. So, first of all, Cad Bane, spoiler alert, shows up at the end of episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
This is a character that was introduced in the Clone Wars that a lot of us immediately fell in love with because he is just one of the most dangerous people you will ever meet in Star Wars.
Totally seem dangerous.
By him showing up and giving Cobb Vanth the business, I think it sets stakes because when that episode opens, and I was talking to my wife about this because she caught this before I did. Ariel, I love you, and I love the fact that you love Star Wars. So he draws on those pikes super quick. Like
Yes.
he kills 3 of them in the flash of a second, and the third one he has my most favorite parenting phrase ever. Think it through. I told my son that now.
Isn't
Hey,
that a Justified line? Isn't that a Justified
I don't
line?
know. I got about halfway through Justified before I caught on to something else, but I love that line because he said it multiple times. In that
Oh no, he
one
said it
area.
before.
Yeah.
He said it in The Mandalorian. Didn't
I don't
he?
know if he did, but I know he says it like 30 seconds before that moment where he shoots them is, don't do it, think it through. And then they all try and draw. And then the last dude, he says it again, think it through. Favorite parenting phrase ever. So I think it sets stakes for anybody who has, because again, Clone Wars was a cartoon. There's a lot of Star Wars fans that are like, I ain't watching that animated stuff, which is perfectly fine.
No, it's not. I was one of those people. I was a fool.
I would say you don't know what you're missing by skipping it, but at the same time,
Don't be a fool.
you don't need.
Agreed.
I'll let everybody
a
define their own
lot
fandom.
of lore, a lot of
There is
lore,
a
a
ton
lot
of
of
lore.
good storytelling.
I'll
Amazing
have to
storytelling.
tell you
But
that
I
season
like that
7
it's
my
coming
favorite.
into the live action because it gives kind of a window for people to be like, ooh, maybe I should go back, which is what Cad Bane is doing. But by Cad Bane giving Cobb Vanth the business, I think it sets up the fact that for anybody who hasn't seen him, and for us who have, we're immediately introduced to a character that is badder than the guy that we just saw be bad.
Correct.
You know what
Correct.
I mean?
Agreed.
And from a
Agreed.
storytelling standpoint, I can't wait to see what happens when he faces Boba. Because again, going back to the Mandalorian, where Boba was kind of reintroduced with his armor, we see him as the gunslinging barbarian. At points, he's swinging around that gaffy stick, and he's smashing helmets and armor's going everywhere. Then he gets the armor back, and he switches immediately into gunslinger mode. He even does the revolver twirl there towards the end.
Does
Hmm.
so
he? Where?
Yeah,
Where
he
do-
does.
in Mando?
In Mando, on Typhon. When he puts his gun away, bah, So it's very much now the two gunslingers, and you've got a third gunslinger in the Mando himself, but I think the Mando kind of represents more of a hunter than a cowboy. You know what I mean? He's quick on the draw and he's got good skills, but more than anything, Mando's kind of all about his equipment. Boba so far we've seen is just straight savage in everything that he's doing up until the show, and
They neutered him.
Yeah, and Cad Bane being introduced as the quick draw McGraw. But the thing that I most love about that moment where they face off is Cobb Vanth may have been able to take Cad Bane, but because he's watching his deputy the whole time, he's not watching Cad Bane.
Yeah.
He's watching his dude who's going to pull a stupid mistake, and he's like, the moment this guy does something stupid, I have to cover for his rear. And that's what gets him shot. Not the fact that they're like, this is a one-on-one, we're mano-y-mano out there. No, it's because idiot over here is being dumb, and I need to make sure that he doesn't cause something bad to go on, and if he does, I need to be able to respond. And idiot gets shot.
Rest in peace, deputy.
Yeah, rest in peace, deputy. You got one episode of Star Wars, so you're a lot further along than I am, but in the end, I love that showdown.
Was great.
Disney, please don't kill Cobb Vanth.
I think he seems like he's alive, though, right?
If you don't have any comments, I do want to harp back on the idea of expectation.
Go ahead.
What happens when I go into something with no expectation and I'm still disappointed?
Then it probably is pretty bad.
Well, I've been told that I would, hamper my. I think I was told by you, hamper your expectations in the middle of me, like, I didn't go in with expectations and I still didn't like it. Back when we were roommates, I felt kind of like...
I don't know, man. I don't believe that. What are we talking about specifically that you went in with no expectations?
I don't remember. I can't recall. I remember the conversation.
It was probably the DCU.
I think you're right. I think it was... Batman v Superman.
Yeah, and maybe it's just me. Maybe that just works for me, and it's not universal, but it has worked for me.
I keep that advice in mind every time I see something. I think that's why my only expectation walking into anything is just give me something that I feel good about. Like I just want to love this. Give me a reason to love it, which helps me look for the good in everything that I watch. I know I've kind of complained a lot about Book of Boba, but there's been a lot of things that have been great about this show.
Yeah, it's still a really, really good show, though.
Yeah, it's been super entertaining.
I feel like a spoiled child who, like...
Yes, and you both are... No.
You got what you wanted, right? You got this thing you wanted, but it wasn't the color you wanted or something.
It's the internet. They're acting like a bunch of
30-year-old temper tantrum of why can't Boba be the way
and
I
the
want
Chinese and Russian robots that are trying to mess up, American pop culture.
What?
That's my theory. But I also believe in Terminators.
Let me ask you
this. Just kidding.
That won't happen until another 7 years.
Let me ask you this,
No, it's 2 years.
Oh, no.
I think it's 2029.
Yeah.
It's 2029.
Well, no, I think
I was looking at
the first
it
movie is
this morning.
2027, and I think the second movie is 2029.
The first movie is 2029. I looked at it this morning. I bet money on that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because Blade Runner is supposed to be set in 2019.
Yeah, well, they're not...
No. I'm just saying, I was just looking at dystopian.
Are you sure about that?
Things.
Why are you beeping?
So.
Are we gonna... Is it... No, I'm just kidding.
And then the
Sorry
apartment
about
blew
that.
up. No. But let me ask you this about expectation. What do you... How you feeling about that Halo trailer?
I'm loving it.
We're pivoting.
Yeah. Pivot.
Oh, do
Pivot,
we?
pivoting.
Oh, man.
You don't wanna
I
say
had
that for
comments
later?
on the Boba Fett thing.
All right, we can go back
This
to
is
Boba
already a
Fett.
Boba
I just-
Fett
I
centric
No, I-
episode.
I-
Let's just
you
knock
know
out
what?
all our Boba Fett.
I don't think it needs to be retread. I said it in the beginning. I like it, and that's it. That's all.
Talking about Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and I have counters for everything you guys have said. But
Counters.
Yeah.
Let's hear him. Counterman.
Yeah, you know what? All right, we'll put... You know what? Tune in to Mechs, Myth, and Magic,
That last word
episode
is-
3, for our take on the Halo. maybe not. We'll see how it turns out. But I want to hear your Boba Fett stuff, if you still got some stuff in the pipe there, Dante.
Okay, I'll just be brief. So Boba Fett, the show, is a tool of Disney to introduce a bunch of new things. So they're using an old thing to introduce a bunch of new things. So that's one of the reasons you're seeing a bunch of these new characters that you might not, not care about yet, right? But there's also you have to connect Boba Fett. You have to actually flesh him out because everything we've had from him are just moments. Before this show are just moments. He's a punk in Return of the Jedi. He looks cool in ESB for 10 seconds or whatever it is. Okay, don't look that up. But he's briefly in there. He's not really. We love him, right? Because, of his brief appearances. And then it caused an entire culture to be made around Boba Fett. Because he was the only Mandalorian for 30, 40 years, whatever it was.
Can I push back on that a little bit?
Let me get my
Okay.
you can talk later.
Let his tirade exe.
Oh wait, let me turn that app off. No, so he's connective tissue to new things, but he's also, we have to explore him. We have to define him. This is the definition, right? And again, a lot of people expect him to be this really something he wasn't, and some people, see him for what he was. He got ate by a Sarlacc. I always thought he looked cool, but he went out like a punk. All right?
Straight up. I agree
Right.
with you, Dante.
But the world still loves him. Mandalorian mercs.
don't know
Merc cosplayers, all over, Mando cosplay. I mean, dude, okay, so they made an entire thing. Like, when Dave Filoni started writing all the Mandalorian mythos, they had to expand on everything that was Boba Fett, right? Like, it's more than just one guy, because it is. It's like an entire universe or whatever. So that's what they did. They have made this big expanded universe, right? Now they have to fill it all in. Now, what my opinion is, Book of Boba Fett is just part of this entire large thing, and it's going to be the Mando eventually, and they're going to be helping each other, and all these characters are going to be helping each other, right? But they had to flesh out Boba Fett, and, they couldn't make him... They could have. It would have been bad storytelling. But they couldn't make him just the ultimate hero from Episode 1. It's a character arc, right? So you got to show him being like, okay, this is his formative process. He's being reborn. He is not what he was before. He was a hunter, but now he's something else. But what is it?
He gained like 30 pounds in that Sarlacc pit.
Okay, so that...
aged like 20 years.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is the only issue I have with the Book of Boba Fett. My issue is that they should have casted Daniel Logan.
The kid who played him in
The kid who played him in Attack of the Clones. Because
Agreed.
he's
I
played
think-
Boba Fett several times besides that.
Yeah.
And he's the right age. A lot of people in their minds, Mandela effect, they'll be, oh, he's too young. But if you know the facts, he's the right age.
How many years after Return of the Jedi is this supposed to be taking place?
4 or 5 years?
5 years.
5 years?
It's been stated at 5 years. Now, that
And he
was
was
when
in-
Mandalorian begins. We don't know exactly how much time takes place between the beginning of Mandalorian Season 1 and the end of Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah, he could have
So
been with
give
the
it about
Tuskens for a
between
while.
5 to 6
And
years.
apparently the Tuskens eat well. I don't know. They're eating a lot of banthas.
Yeah.
A lot of do-bags. I don't know. Okay. So it is possible to put on that weight. But all I'm saying is that Daniel Logan is the right age, and he's the right body type for a Boba in the Return of the Jedi. Right? Which is only 4 or 5 years removed from the beginning of Book of Boba Fett. Right? So that is a failure in casting and foresight on the hands of Disney, which is a minor thing. Right, but I'll stick with that. I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, but Tim's a great actor. He's a better actor." It's true. He is.
Agreed.
He is a better actor
And a better singer.
I mean, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know that Tamora Morrison is this great actor. If you look at his stuff, look at "We Were Warriors." Oh my gosh, it'll give you every emotion you
The
have.
Mel Gibson movie?
No, it is not.
Sorry.
No, it's not.
That was We Were Soldiers for anybody keeping track.
No, everyone Google "We Were Warriors" and watch that. It has Tao Wen in it, the long necked. Anyway, the voice actor. Anyways, watch it. You'll cry. It'll be every emotion, right? And Tamora Morrison is insane. But here's the thing, Daniel Logan might not be as an experienced an actor, might not be as good as Tamora Morrison. I know they're all friends, they're all family, whatever. But it's not Shakespeare. I mean, It's not complicated, especially the way they've unfolded this thing. It's not like really. It's not. It's he would have done great. This would have been a great vehicle for Daniel. It would have been great fan service, whatever. Taking over that word.
Would Daniel have been willing to shave his eyebrows off?
Yeah, sure.
Why would he need to shave his eyebrows off?
Because in the Sarlacc pit, it ate all the hair.
Oh,
I'm assuming that's why he's bald and with no
Dude,
eyebrows when it comes out.
I believe that if you got to be Boba Fett on the screen, yeah. Again,
That's just a joke.
I know. Okay. Let me see if I had any.
Can I push back a little bit?
Wait. Let me see if I had anything else.
Do you guys still want to talk about what you guys expect for the finale?
Okay, I'm good. Out of place? Did you say something about being out of place? What was out of place?
Just
those 2 episodes.
I think. Okay, so the Grogu, the anything that had to do with the Mandalore, aside from him helping with the upcoming war, like that Grogu Luke. That was.
Yeah.
Unless Luke comes and joins this fight, I am not interested.
I don't
in
understand what with all this compartmentalism. Why you feel it's so necessary? Because it is one universe. The Mandalorians, they have to have that connective tissue. Like I said, the entire Mandalorian thing came from Boba Fett.
I get that.
Are you sure? Because you're really
I
on
am
your
harping
borders.
on it. I get what you're saying.
You are Switzerland and Italy. All right, come on.
But it'd be like I don't think I could give a good answer. But again, I just think there's a lot of time away from our titular character, and that makes. In my opinion, that makes him seem less important to what's happening now. And the only way that he'll be able, again, like I think what you said, Tony, is kind of spot on. Like him seeming kind of incompetent and needing a lot of help from the surrounding characters around him. Like he's almost nothing without Fennec Shank, without Mando, without Cobb Vanth, or the potential of Cobb Vanth joining him. Like there's a lot of people, the bikers, even Chewbacca's cousin. Like there's a lot of people that
you're not related. You racist. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's
I'm just
slow down on the R word.
Hey, you said sand people earlier. You didn't hear me call you out. All right, I should be the one saying.
Mechs, Myth, and Magic episode 4, where we discuss the political correctness.
And we get canceled.
I'm just mapping out our whole road on this podcast right now.
Hey, the more structure, the better.
All right, I think I'm done. I've said everything that I want to say. Go ahead.
I have a couple of thoughts in response. I have a rebuttal. The first is that when we first meet Boba, sure, he looks cool, but he's also introduced as kind of the character that caught Han, which gives him a little bit of credibility.
He was really good in
Empire. He is the guy to catch Han Solo, and from that, just that alone creates this mythology in every fan's head, and that they constantly wrote about how Boba and Han were these rivals. You can't think about Boba without thinking about Han Solo prior to Disney's acquisition of Star Wars. The two characters were locked in this kind of back and forth, So I will say that he is introduced as a capable, competent character. Well, now, there's not a lot to him, but he essentially is, okay, here's this infamous bounty hunter who catches Han Solo, our rugged, slick, know-it-all smuggler here. So he is that, if nothing else. Oh. Now, I will say, he did go out like a punk, but I don't think it was because of him. I think it's because of the writing. This awesome character, and they were just like, we got to do something, because this guy looks like he's capable, but in the middle of this Jedi action and Han being blind, maybe we can play it up for yucks. And that's why, Boba Fett, where? It's a hysterical moment. I love it. I watch it with Ronan, and Ronan loves it. So, ultimately, again, I mean, it's almost like those two movies set up my problem for Boba Fett forever. Like, you have competence in the first movie, and then yucks in the second movie. So, from there, I don't know. But anyway, expectations for the finale.
So there'll be a pitch battle. There'll be a pitch battle in Mos Espa, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. And the Pikes, of course, are going to be winning, even though they've got this small army. Whatever. It'll be an even battle. The Pikes are going to seemingly be on the whatever. And then the people of Mos Espa, either early or in the end, will come in, turn the tide, along with the Tusken Raiders.
Okay.
Oh, and everyone thinks that... go ahead. What do you think?
Well, I don't think Luke's going to show up with Grogu. I think this is the last of Luke that we see until Mando Season 3.
That would be wise.
I do think that we're bringing back Filoni's original idea for how Boba got the dent in the helmet. I'm willing to bet because we see.
You don't know about that?
I heard that he had a dent and that it was by something in the Clone Wars or something like that.
It was Cad Bane shooting him in the head.
In the Clone Wars.
Yeah. There was an arc in the Clone Wars where Cad Bane trains. Well, this was before it was established that Boba Fett's armor is Beskar, because that happened in Mando Season 2. Prior to that, we didn't know if he had fake armor or where he got the armor or anything like that. Mando Season 2 kind of established that is Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, that.
But there was an arc in Clone Wars where Cad Bane essentially trains and takes Boba Fett under his wing for a bit. Because before Cad Bane was the head honcho, Jango Fett was the head honcho when it came to bounty hunters. So it ends in this idea of Cad Bane having no morals and Boba Fett having somewhat of a code, and the two of them are faced off in a quick draw. And Boba shoots Cad, and Cad shoots Boba, and it puts the dent in the helmet. So, again, established prior to it being known that it was Beskar. Maybe he used a slug, something that's not seen very much in Star Wars, but Mandalorians tend to use them for Jedi. So,
or maybe it was a Beskar bullet.
Maybe it was a Beskar bullet. We don't know what it was, but I'm willing to bet when we see Boba and Cad Bane shows up in this series finale, there's going to be some hints to that original moment that never saw the light of day. Because I do believe it's referenced in the Bad Batch. When Cad Bane shows up there, he's got this metal plate on his head.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Go back and watch it, because there's a moment without his hat, and there's this metal plate right here.
Is that where Boba shot him?
Yeah, I'm willing to bet it was.
What? They shot each other in the head?
I'm willing to bet they both
headshots?
landed headshots, and they both walk away from it. So
wow.
I'm thinking that that's going to be referenced. I'm thinking that Boba's definitely going to ride a Rancor. You can't set that up in the second episode and
Chekhov's
not give it to us
Rancor
before the end. There you go.
You think he'll ride a Rancor? Or you
I
just
think
let it
It might be Trejo.
I think he's going to come in on those pikes, riding this thing, and it's just going to be swinging its arms. It's going to be like double fisting pikes here and there, and just shoving them both into its mouth. Like I'm willing to bet that Rancor thing is going to be absolutely bonkers.
Here's the thing. Hey,
I'm gonna love it.
I just had an idea. I think it might be Trejo. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Trejo
he's
come
the
in.
Rancor wrangler, right?
Rancor and then
tamer.
maybe Boba Fett later on. But Boba Fett's going to be in the middle of a pitched battle.
I'm willing to bet Boba has been spending the past 2 episodes learning how to ride a Rancor.
That's where he was.
We needed to kind of shift away from Boba so that when we come back to him, he's learned a new ability that none of us knew about. So, I mean, outside of the Rancor and the Cad Bane face-off, please don't let Cobb Vanth die, Disney. That's all I ask. And that's really the only things that I can expect from this finale. And both of them have been set up either in one sense or another. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on the finale?
No, I'm just going in with zero expectations.
Cheers.
There you go.
I appeal to Dante's sensibilities when it comes to that. Like, it makes sense because you can't be disappointed, but you can still have your your wants and your desires afterwards. Like, oh, this could have been done a little bit better, or this could have been done this way. But either way, I think the show's great. Again, like I said, I'm not knocking any of the episodes. My issue was with the placement, right? So those things probably could have been added later on. Right. So either way, I'm excited to see how this is all gonna kind of come together, and I was excited when I saw Cad Bane. I was like, man, Dave Filoni's put his hands all up in there, man, because he's got all these characters, Ahsoka, Cad Bane, all these people. It was like he definitely had a large input in this.
I love Filoni. That man is a genius.
Yeah, man, the true successor.
In classic therapy mentality, you choose how you feel. Nobody can make you feel anything. So I will choose to flip a table if I do not see Boba riding a Rancor. Well, I think that wraps up this episode of Mechs, Myth, and Magic. Episode 1. You can find us on Spotify and iTunes, and you can watch us here on YouTube. We'd love for you to join us again, and please, stay nerdy, my friends.